Yeah, folks, the idea is that a lot of you are watching these videos via YouTube. Now, since the classes are also supposed to be online at 5, the idea is not to just watch the video, and that's why I delayed the video yesterday as well. So please don't get into that space ki I provide the video, and just because I provide the video, you are not sticking to your schedule. The idea is to stick to the schedule and then do current affairs simultaneously. Okay, so don't miss out on that part of waking up early and then transforming your day in the early part. So सुबह जल्दी उठो. Yes, the video is there for you for your assistance, and I'll send it to you today at on time. But please wake up on time and attend the live session. Otherwise, there's no point of all of this. ये तो आप you can do it with any particular, इतने सारे YouTube पे you can get videos of current affairs. So मतलब I'm not the only one. 10,000 people are doing the same work. But how is it different is that you're doing it at the time when no one else is doing. You have to be in that top 1%, and top 1% ले you have to wake up early and then come for these sessions. ठीक है, so this is basically a message for people who are not there in the class, जो बाद में वीडियो देखेंगे. ठीक है, so first of all I congratulate बाकी जो लोग आ गए हैं in the session. But let's now start with our meditation. So we'll meditate for 2 minutes, and then we'll move on to journaling in 2 minutes, and then quickly we'll go to our current affairs of the day, because there are a lot of news that we need to cover. So let's meditate for. All right, let's start with the news. So report of NEET UG results city-wise, center-wise. SC tells the testing agencies. So basically, again for NEET UG, what we are trying to see is that we have already talked about a number of things in the examination pattern, how the examination pattern of these are flawed, and what needs to be done in terms of improvement of the testing systems in the country. And it has this entire issue of both, not just NEET but also the NET exam, has questioned the centralization of testing agency and centralization of tests. So over maybe something like over centralization is also bad. Then but I don't want you to give such examples, because this is an example of probably poor execution. The idea perhaps is good. Now, so in this case, the Supreme Court has said that by July 20th, you need to send us all the results with respect to city-wise, center-wise, to see if there is any anomaly in any particular center or in any particular state. Now, this is also here, if you see, statistics comes into play. Most of you are from economics background. You would have done a little bit of statistics. So we were trying to see that is there a spike in some kind of a center, if there is a normal distribution, if something is going beyond normal distribution. So you can test all of these and then see whether there is some kind of anomaly or not. So this is one thing. Then you have a lot of political news. But let's quickly go to you can see this news if you want, but I want to jump to the most important part of the paper. Also something that you should do. Let's see the editorials first. Now, if you see the editorials, the first editorial is with respect to Rahim Ali. We had talked about this particular news, that there was an individual from Assam. He was picked up a few years ago, and then he was tried under the Foreigners Act, the Foreigners Tribunal. Now you should read about what is this Foreigners Tribunal, what is this Section 6 of Foreigners Tribunal, which basically says that anyone who has been excluded from the citizenship register can file a appeal under this tribunal, and this tribunal had given an ex parte order. What is an ex parte order? Ex parte order basically means that when you are not there, you're not even there in the court, so the court can give you an ex parte order and declaring Ali as a foreigner, and then The Guwahati High Court has also dismissed this petition on the grounds that he could not appear before the tribunal because of a medical condition. And finally, when this particular family sold all its resources, had lost all hope, this case went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court decided upon a case and said that no, the way that Rahim Ali was picked up by the police, the border police, was something which is illegal, and kind of restored the citizenship over this particular gentleman. But 2 days after, we realized that this particular individual is not alive anymore, and he has gone through that entire judicial process, that entire cycle जो मैं आपको बोलता हूँ, that you start a case. अगर आप आज एक इंडिया के जुडिशरी में आज आप एक केस लड़ने जाते हो, तो आपकी दूसरी पीढ़ी या तीसरी पीढ़ी उस केस को लड़ रही होगी. दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ डिलेज दैट वी सी इन इंडियन जुडिशियल सिस्टम. So as I was telling you in the class, that first you take an order from the court अगर आपका कोई सिविलियन केस है, and then you take an execution. पहले तो आप ऑर्डर अपने फेवर में लो, फिर उसके बाद एग्जीक्यूशन का एक अलग केस करो. So this shows you the grind of Indian judiciary. But this is something that we need to see, and we need to assess that how many more cases are there, such cases are there in the country. Or ये जो there are 100 such foreigner tribunals which have declared around 1,60,000 people as foreigners, and there are around 94,000 cases who are pending. But are there more cases like this? So this is something which is very disturbing. And the politics of polarization is still working in Assam. The honorable chief minister of Assam has been talking about such issues, and talking about such polarization, giving such polarization statements. And see, how do you end a question, or how do you end an answer, or how do you end an essay? That until that changes, the question, what is the point now, will continue to tower a justice that is hard to overcome, or comes too late. So if you're starting a question, or you're starting say essay on a particular note, that this is the anecdote. So I give you an anecdote of person A, B and C, or AB, and then I am also ending that particular say essay on that particular note, that I'm referring to that initial person that I had referred to. So this is how you frame an essay as well. This is a wonderful way of framing essays, through anecdotes, and ending through that anecdote. So I hope this part is clear, one method of essay writing. Then we had talked about yesterday about Allwin. Now we had already seen during COVID times, we had used this app called as open source, a digital platform called as Covin, where you got all the records of your immunization, and who immunized you, and where you were immunized, and which kind of jab did you get for COVID-19. The same thing we are now extending to basically universal immunization program. Now this universal immunization program is kind of a flagship program for immunization. It started in 1978 in India with these 4 diseases, and then it has now 12 diseases that is covered. So first of all, you should, I mean if you're using any kind of tech, again I was telling you, use tech for articles, read the article, use tech for it, and then start asking article answers from it. That what is this, what was India's immunization program, what are the kind of vaccines that goes into it, what are these vaccines against. So this kind of research that you have to do, you can use Claude, or you can use GPTs. So that is why I say that have that assistance with you. So you have these 4 vaccines, and now you have these 12 vaccines, and the National Family Health Survey, a data set that you will have to use for your any society answers, any answers in economics. National Family Health Survey shows that 80% of children in this particular age group have received, but still 20% are left. And remember, we read an article yesterday that WHO or UNICEF ने क्या बोला, there is a dip in our vaccination rate. If you remember, we talked about zero vaccination. So that has we have not been able to cover that. So that and it is also because of the hiatus that was there because of COVID-19 के चक्कर में पूरा का वैक्सीन का जो ड्राइव था that had been disrupted. And now we are launching this UWIN, this thing which will have which can be used by ASHA workers. And suppose an ASHA worker or a private hospital, anyone is giving a jab to any child between the age of 12 to 23 months, will put it on the CoWIN app, and anyone can use it. And the best thing is, suppose your child's this thing is coming, that vaccine is coming, people will forget, migrants will forget, they are not that at times they are not educated, they will get a reminder. Now this is a wonderful example that you can use for your I mean, every year, I told you, every year you are getting a question in governance which is use or the benefits or the negatives with respect to government e-governance plans. So this is one of the best examples of e-governance, how you're changing the health sector through this. And then you also have, you can use this in logistics as well. There is something called as I think even, which is basically cold storage for logistics since 2015. So use all these examples in your answer writing when you're taking governance. Alright, then the next important article is garbage times. Now again, something that you can innovatively talk about, you can use in your essays, a lot of good content that you're getting out of it. Now what is this garbage times? Now first of all, let me address certain doubts that students had, that some of you had come to me and said that, sir, I am reading Hindu. Now I mean, I don't see whether you read Hindu or Express, but whatever newspaper you are reading, it will give you a lot of material for your paper. So zaruri nahi hai ki garbage times is there in Hindu, or there is some article in Hindu which is not here, but the idea is to use these in your answer writing, कि आप इसका जो नोट होगा वो आपके आंसर राइटिंग में कहाँ रिफ्लेक्ट हो सकता है. सो यू हैव एन आइडिया विद यू दैट यू कैन एक्सप्लोर एंड दैट यू कैन पुट इन एनी फॉर्मेट. आप वो एथिक्स में यूज़ करो, ऐसे में यूज़ करो, कहीं और यूज़ करो. Now let's talk about this article, garbage times. Now garbage times is basically actually sports में होता है. Now suppose say I'll give you an example that इंडिया का कोई मैच चल रहा है से पाकिस्तान के साथ, एंड क्या कहते हैं, पाकिस्तान को से 40 रन चाहिए लास्ट 1 ओवर में. सो यू नीड 40 रन इन 1 ओवर. सो दैट इंटायर ओवर इज व्हाट, दैट इंटायर ओवर इज गार्बेज टाइम. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू हैव सीन द वर्ल्ड कप, T20 वर्ल्ड कप ऑफ इंडिया वर्सेस साउथ अफ्रीका, सो द लास्ट बॉल वाज गार्बेज टाइम because we won the match on the second last ball. So that is called as garbage time. I hope now you are able to relate because वो cricket वाला example अभी आपको याद रहेगा ताज़ा. So now this particular thing is being used in Chinese newspaper, which basically says which is adopted that right now China is going through what is called as garbage time because of marked stagnation in the economy. There's a huge unemployment, and then there is this lack of faith in the leadership of Xi Jinping. And this is a Chinese paper, by the way, but the government is trying to overcome that particular phrase by saying that I mean, previously also the newspapers had come up with this lying flat and then inward curling or burnout, but the mouthpieces of Communist Party of China had said that these are rubbish words. But at the same point of time, this is also something that was used for Soviet, and Soviets declined after the war of Afghanistan, invasion of this marked the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, marked the end of the Soviet Union. So this basically shows you the decline in the entire within China. But at the same point of time, the article also talks about that that even the climate is moving towards garbage time. Why? Because read about what is this Great Pacific Garbage Patch. There is a huge patch of garbage. People throw chips packet and whatnot in ocean. So oceans, what you have is, you have these ocean liners, big ocean liners, and everyone, just like we used to throw our stuff on roads, we are throwing all of this in ocean. And now because of the circulation system, the gyre circulation system in Pacific region, you have this Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is an entire ecosystem of its own. तो garbage ने अपना एक ecosystem बना लिया है. So just like we have near Delhi, we have these garbage mountains. We have this huge garbage island that we have made out of it. But the article also gives you hope in the end that China has contributed much to the world, from paper to silk to tea to gunpowder, and we have we can probably China can then emerge again. Now, can you take an example from this for India? If you are writing something about, say, an Indian problem, that we are facing so many problems in India, but India has been in the past we have faced such big problems, and we can overcome all of these problems as well. So end on a positive note always. Even if you're criticizing something, make sure you have a positive mindset. कि the answer gives you a flavor कि yes, not all is bad. There is some hope in future. So that should also be incorporated in your answer writing. Now the next article is cover the slipping. Now this basically article is with respect to the internal happenings and internal developments in Pakistan. Now there is an interesting contrast, folks. If you see, people say that Pakistan is also, on the face of it, it's a democracy. So there is something called as, say, notional democracy. There is something called as say a democracy at face. So whether you are a de facto democracy or a de jure democracy, this is probably a question that you can search. That is Pakistan a democracy or not? The same thing you can say about countries like say China, the governance system like China. So in China, what happens is, it is the party which controls the military, and the military which controls the through the military they control the entire society. In Pakistan, it's also a similar system, but it is a different system. It's an inside-out system where it is the military which controls the party, and then the party is basically the face of governance. So this kind of regimes you see in a number of places. So not all countries are actual democracies. Now in India, you can say there is why there is actual democracy, because yes, in India, the army is completely under the control of the civilian government. So the civilian government is also very important, and you also have a huge and powerful bureaucracy. जैसे पाकिस्तान में पीपल हैव दिस थिंग फॉर पैशन फॉर ज्वाइनिंग मिलिट्री. जैसे इंडिया के अंदर पैशन होता है यूपीएससी का एंड ब्यूरोक्रेट बनने का, पाकिस्तान के अंदर होता है ऑफ गेटिंग इनटू द आर्मी, बिकॉज दे रूल ऑल द शॉट्स. बट इंडिया के केस में वी हैव अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग एटलीस्ट एज कम्पेयर टू अदर कंट्रीज, अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग जुडिशरी एज वेल. वी हैव अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग पोलिटिकल bureaucracy as well, and then we have an able or basically we can guide a guided bureaucracy as well, the guided political dispensation as well. So that makes us a very very good kind of a healthy democracy as compared to others. Now this is something that I was giving you as a comparison, but let's see about this particular news. Now what Hussein Haqqani, now very interesting thing. Someone who is an ambassador of Pakistan, former ambassador of Pakistan to US, and also serving in multiple places, is now writing an article with respect to that how Pakistan's how Pakistan's army is basically trying to call the shots, but it is not going to give them a result that they want. Now the background behind this particular topic is that you have this PTI, which is Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Now this is the party which whose head is Imran Khan, the ex cricketer turned politician, and the former prime minister. Now he is under jail. All of you must know that he is or must be knowing that he is under detention now for a number of cases. Now the issue here is that there was this idea by the information minister of Pakistan that we are planning to ban Tehreek-e-Insaf, and if you see the elections that happened recently in February in Pakistan were also rigged elections. You see the difference between India and Pakistan. They are rigged elections. The main political party was banned, PTI was banned, but still the candidates that represented PTI, if you combine them together, formed the majority in the parliament. But because they were all scattered, there was a coalition that came around, and again the Sharifs are back in power with the help of the army. So and now you are again trying to somehow reduce the role of PTI because it has become so popular. But the moment you try to suppress something which is popular, it gives rise to even more popularity. And this article talks about history, how Imran Khan also came to power with the help of the army, and then after and when the army thought that no, he's too radical for us, then they outcasted him, and but he's now become even more powerful. And this part of the article talks about the fact that Pakistan has tried this banning of parties earlier as well. There was a party called National Awami Party which was led by Pashtun nationalist Abdul Wali Khan. Now, interesting thing is he is the son of the freedom fighter of the United India, Abdul, or United Bharat, I would say, Abdul Ghaffar Khan. And it was banned twice, and then it still exists in the form of Awami National Party, and it supports the cause of, it is pro India, supports the cause of Pashtuns in the northwestern region of the country. So again folks, you should not just about India, you should also be aware about the map of Pakistan. What is the map of, what are the different regions of Pakistan, what are the different regions of China, what are the different regions of say Afghanistan, Myanmar. So have a good idea about your neighbors as well. That's very important for your entire answer writing. And whenever, I mean, it's not just this. So suppose there is a lot of news with respect to Rafah border these days. Now why not see the Rafah border? Just Google it up, see what is the Rafah border, where are the entries, why this is a major issue, what is Gaza Strip, what is West Bank. So the idea is to be aware when you are reading. And then it basically talks about all of this, that there is this military alliance, and then all the elections were this rigged, and still the elections was won by these particular members. And then banning does not do much of any help to the country. And to avoid bringing country to the crossroads, the politicians need to take this path by cooperating with each other. So all these political parties now need to cooperate with each other if they want to save Pakistan from getting into that cycle of history, and then of political instability, military rule, and all of that. So this is the article, very good article for you to read. Then a very interesting article on disabling the disabled, something that you can pick up for your social justice. Now think of, now it opens you the mind of and this cannot have been written by a general person. It had to be, the way it was written, it was supposed to be written by a practicing advocate of Supreme Court. Now let us see this article. Now suppose and let us understand the article, and then you can read the article. Now suppose if I tell you that I am putting 18% GST on any particular, say I go out to walk, and every time I go out to walk, there will be an 18% GST on me. Now someone will say that I am basically exercising my natural rights, and the rights that have been given to me and entrusted to me by God in terms of human rights. Now to get these human rights, to exercise these human rights, I need to pay a tax. So this is something which is very absurd, like walking in a park, or just walking on two legs, or just enjoying the weather. You can't tax all of these things. Now think of someone who is disabled, who doesn't have legs, and who has to use a wheelchair. Now if you have a wheelchair, and if you have a if you're going to pay tax on wheelchair, now the way that nature has decided is that I am going to be there without legs. Now you are going to tax me, you're going to double tax me. First I am disabled, and now you are putting a tax on me, something which should cost me 100 rupees. Now you are asking me 105 rupees. You are asking me these 5 rupees more because I am disabled. So that is why the reason why this article is called as disabling the disabled. That that you're taxing someone who's already taxed by nature. So someone like something like or something like tax on braille. The person is already under the whammy that he or she cannot read, and now you're taxing that particular individual again. Now this particular article talks about that entire saga, so read about this, and this goes against the ethos of Divyang, which means what we say is, earlier we used to have this philosophy of physically disabled person. Now we don't call this as PWD, we call this as Divyang. And read about this transition, how we moved to Divyang. And there was this show by the Honorable Prime Minister, Man Ki Baat, where he had introduced this particular term, if I remember it correctly. So we need to not just understand the word in its this thing, but also feel it, and also follow it in, not just in letter but also in spirit. And this part of the article talks about the fact that there were history papers. I have read all these I mean, when I was doing law, I clearly remember reading all these landmark judgments with respect to the case, and this Ashirwad case, and this Sakal paper case. Now the tax that the government imposed on advertising, so the government, the Supreme Court had struck down the government imposed restriction on advertising in newspapers as being violative of free speech. So basically, I mean, there was a time when the government said that advertisers cannot put this thing ads. Now you have seen, all of you see on the front page of Indian Express, you see an entire one page ad of, say, Vision IS, Next IS, Vajiram and Ravi. All of these ad, you will be surprised to know, on the second page, just check, there is a number given, just give them a call and check the rate of a one page newspaper, this thing. It will be around 20 lakh rupees for one day. And these institutions, by the way, these institutions pay the newspaper in advance. So book for the entire 1 year for 2 crore rupees, 3 crore rupees, because every one ad, if they're paying, say, on an average, say 2 lakh rupees or 3 lakh rupees, if you're taking it in bulk, even if 2 students or 3 students take admission on the basis of one ad, their economies work. Okay, so first of all, I'm trying to explain you the economy of advertising. Now why is it important for Indian Express? Now see, how much does it charge? It charges us only 3-4 rupees for so much of material. But where is this fund coming from? The fund is coming from the advertisers. So that is what was questioned in this particular case. The government banned these advertisement, but then the newspapers, so see, the circulation is basically because of the money that the newspaper gets. And I have the fundamental right of speech and expression, and therefore in this particular case, this levy was basically, even a customs duty was basically a levy on burden imposed on common man for being literate, and his duty as a citizen to be informed around of the world around himself. So based on that, we are saying that even disability under the rights of persons, right of persons with disability act. Now read about this act, which strictly prohibits discrimination against persons with disability. Is basically, this kind of tax is against this, and the revenue is minuscule, but the message is the thing which is problematic. So I hope you understood this particular article. Now the next particular article is with respect to the Supreme Court had asked the center to frame policies for menstrual leave policies, which ensures the women are not discriminated against in the workplace. Now should discrimination even be the part of this entire debate? Now this is a very important debate, and this is something that has been often asked to aspirants, not I mean, in their interviews. If you see the interview transcripts of a lot of UPSC aspirants, you will see this question coming last year and last to last year, because this is a valid question, and how do you answer this tricky question? So Now there are two what the article basically says is, now the Supreme Court had taken this decision on I mean the Supreme Court had dismissed a petition requesting menstrual leave, stating it would be discriminatory against women and it would reinforce negative stereotypes. So there could be negative stereotypes. What could happen is that people will not like to hire women if you give outright these these leaves. Then again the decision is also an ethical decision. Can you put this in as an ethical dilemma for a particular company as well, that recognizing women's health needs versus avoiding gender discrimination at workplace? So this is, again, you can use this particular example in your ethics, even in your essay. So there are arguments that are against us, against this particular leave, that it is a biological reality and it can it can impact productivity. So therefore this particular thing. Then, but at the same point of time, there are arguments, because of this, because it impacts your productivity, so you should be given menstrual leave. But then there are arguments against this particular phenomena, because it can reinforce gender stereotypes. For example, because of the 6 month this thing, that every woman in India now has the right to have this thing a child leave, a maternal leave for 6 months. A lot of institutions, small institutions, not big institutions, small institutions, might not want to hire young married females, because a stereotype can be created that we would have to give full wages for for an individual, and that the individual might leave. So this basically reinforces these gender stereotypes. So, and may lead to further discrimination and hiring. So but at the same point of time, there are broader issues of workplace equality, which needs policies, and then we need to also support the aspects of women's health, and we need a cultural shift of how menstrual health is perceived and managed at workplace, and we need that gender sensitivity to come in institutions as well. Then the Supreme Court, we've already talked about this. The entire particular process, that the arguments against and the arguments for this debate. So read about these two particular debates, and what needs to be done, and what are the possible solutions that can come out of this particular debate. So have both sides of story, and this is how, by the way, folks, when you write an answer of critical analysis, so when the word comes critical analysis, this is what you need to have an idea about. Then they let the opposition speak. This session is basically fairer time distribution in parliament, and not just about procedure and accountability and representation. Please read this particular article, which basically, and by the way, Derek O'Brien writes a very good articles, and basically has brought about a very very important point here, that we need a culture of debate in the parliament, and where the opposition bench is able to counter the treasury bench, and then show them that what are the problems in the bills, and what are the issues. Because without that, what happens is that if the parliament doesn't deliberate, then you have passing of acts, just like you have these three new criminal laws. There is hardly any debate that happened in the parliament on this particular issue, which is changing the entire ecosystem of criminal jurisprudence in India. So this is something which is problematic, and we need to focus on reallocatment of time between the government and the opposition with respect to that. So read this particular article. It also talks about number of bills. For example, provisional of collection of tax bills 2023 was only debated for a small amount of time. Then discussions are not being fruitful. So again, this particular section of these three criminal laws. So read about this article, and then you will get an idea. Now surprise Gaza visit. Please read about Gaza. As I've already told you, Bangladesh job issue we had talked about yesterday. Then maybe you can read this. Now, accumulation of food prices pressures threaten inflation outlook, RBI bulletin. Now, I mean, people who are going to prepare for RBI grade B, you have state of the economy. And again, for people who are from economics optional, now every month there is a release of state of the economy document by RBI. Now I will give it to you. You have to read it. Anyone who is from economics background, IES, economics, you have to, you want to make sure that your economics for GS is extremely strong. This is the best resource. Just an overview of this, and I will show you in classes how you can utilize artificial intelligence to summarize these documents, and then you can at least have an overview of what is the overall macroeconomic picture of the economy. So that is where, as I keep telling you, preparation without AI is an incomplete preparation at all. So make sure you can't read all of that, but you can use AI as an assistant for all of your work. Now this article is published in the RBI bulletin that said that, and we already know about this, all of this, because you know that the inflation right now in June has increased to 5.1%. If you remember our classes from day to day before, see, this is where it is written. But if you see the food inflation is extremely high, around 8.6 8.7%. Now the problem is that food inflation, because of food inflation, the overall inflation is not being we are not able to manage that, despite the fact that core inflation is under control. Core inflation is not problematic, but our food inflation is something which is problematic. And if we leave the food inflation entrenched, that it threatens to overall increase the inflation overall. So there is something called a price spiral. So we will learn about this in economics optional, but as a part of GS also, you should be aware that food inflation can, if there is continuous food inflation, it can get entrenched into a wage price spiral. How? So for example, if my food inflation is continuously high, what will happen is my driver will also ask for more money from me, my maid will also ask for more money from me. So basically my expenditures will increase. If my expenditures will increase, I will also start to say to the government that please increase the DA, please increase the DA, the salary will increase, the salaries for everyone else will increase. This is called as food price spiral. So the overall inflation in the country will start to increase if this is not left. And we already know that the solution lies in supply side measures as well, that how do you improve the entire ecosystem of the productivity and the agricultural policy to structurally reduce the inflation down, and not just put bandages on this problem by saying we will ban exports, we will do this, we will procure more food. So all of these are bandages, but systemic solution needs to be found out for this particular problem. Then facing criticism, EFPO plans 24/7 multilingual contact center to address complaints. Now this is something that we had talked about a lot, that this employee provident fund and denial of basically funds being taken out is a major problem that EFPO is facing. Now this is, if you remember, I sent you a bot recently, my AI agent recently, where I showed you that AI had cloned my voice. Now basically this is what is being used here as well. I mean, this is how they are going to basically use it in future. Have chatbots in different languages. You ask it question in any particular way and it will answer you in different languages. So that's the future of this, and future of this entire industry as well. So you have an existing grievance portal. Now this grievance portal will be replaced by advanced software, and this particular software will be basically having this chatbot and Umang, and all of this problem solving will be solved. So read, first of all, what is your task is, you have to read about EFPO. The problem is that digitalization of EFPO is a problem which was also raised by CDAC. And then the EPF settlement has the rejection rate of EPF settlement had increased, which causes a lot of tension among the government employees. So read about this. Now electronics sector, Niti Ayog proposes simpler tariff, fresher incentives. Read about this. Now we had read about this particular article yesterday, that how to get parental control access for under the DPDP Act. The DPDP Act is still not being notified, the Digital Data Protection Act, but there is a huge concern with respect to children who are using these applications below the age of 18 years. Our DPDP Act says this, that explicit consent needs to be taken. So please read about it. Then RBI governor to kick off this modern FE's modern BFSI survey. Please read about that as well. Now, since I am running short on time, I'm only going to do this particular article, and I'm only going to talk about this particular article. But please read about this Macho Piro, which is the largest uncontacted tribe in the world, and green revolution in maize. Now maize production in India has tripled over the last few years, and the private sector is basically driving this entire story. And the important part about maize is that at the initial part of the green revolution, we were thinking about maize only as food, but now maize had transited from become a food to a feed for a number of industries as well. And now since you have this biofuels coming up, it has also become a fuel. So that kind of private sector, and this kind of we called it as I think blue revolution, or not blue revolution, I'm forgetting this is called as blue biotechnology, if I'm not wrong. There is something called red biotechnology, blue biotechnology, which talks about that how the industrial sector can use technology and all of this to improve its outcome. So read about this. What I will do is I will cover this particular article in detail tomorrow. We'll start our class with this session, and because this is an important article, but since we are short on time, we are not able to cover this. But I would still like you to read this entire article, and this is just general that you can see. So with this, folks, I will like to end the class. Please read about the newspapers, and I will meet you today. For those for economics, I'll meet you today at 2.